pursue God together. That's one. Whether they are hungry for God and they want to pursue God together with you, that's one. But second thing is, yeah, the person can be a very good, solid Christian, but the purpose of God on their life is totally different from God's purpose on my life. So I would consider that as well. Then, of course, I think it's also important for the person to look good to you, right? It's not carnal. You are going to live with the person forever. So it should be someone that you should be proud of, to be pleasing. And they say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. So I think it's also important to consider that. So these are, let's say, basic things, I guess.
Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Amoda, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think I identify again with Papa Shelter.
Okay.
I mean, definitely the person should look good to you. That's for me. It counts. It counts. It counts much.
Okay.
And you shouldn't be unequally yoked, right? I think it's the basic foundation that you guys need to be of the same spirit, born again believers, and you should find yourselves complementing each other because there's no one person out there who has it all. So you look for how to complement you and see how you complement that person. I think for me, this were the basis. Yeah. So use this formula and it works.
All right. The
And
winning
I
formula.
think, yes, I think character is also important.
Yeah.
Yes, character. Yeah, character is very important. And someone who is your friend. Because at a point in marriage, you would have misunderstandings, you would have divergent views, and in friendship, how you solve your issues, like the love holds you. So the person should be, first of all, your friend, somebody that you can go to, you talk things out, and the person wouldn't look down on you. Yes, so the character is important. The person respects and love you, and you also do likewise. Because there are some people who are God-fearing, they have everything, but their character is totally different. So the character is also important.
Yeah, I'll add that. So before I proposed to my wife, I didn't hear a sound saying, "This is your wife," or I didn't have any vision about her being my wife. She was just a good friend. Um, and I knew that her purpose was well aligned with my purpose because we have been friends and we talk a lot. And then I just brought it before God in prayer. And I had the peace of God about it, had joy in my heart about it. And I went ahead. So I didn't particularly hear any thunder or lightning or whatever. But I'm not saying that some people cannot hear. So, I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Benny Hinn's story, but Benny Hinn's story is very interesting, where there was, I don't remember the full story now, but there was tangible evidence of he knowing that this is the wife, the woman. And the woman also had that same tangible uh, voice of God that but it got to a point, even though they knew that this is who God chose for me, it got to a point in their marriage, they were separated. In spite of all of that, now they are together. But it got to a point they had to separate. So it's also the ongoing friendship, right? So God can declare and bring someone to you. But marriage itself, it's a journey, and the friendship makes it meaningful. If we are all pursuing God together, then even if I miss something, you can talk to me in love.
All right. Character, God-fearing, friendship should be equally yoked. among others. Yeah. So thank you very much. Now we have a question. A question that we dwell so much on purpose. So should I keep away from marriage until I find purpose? Now, what if the purpose changes along the line? So what happens to the relationship? Yes.
I'm not sure I understand purpose changing, right? So, I'm not sure I understand the question about purpose changing. Maybe you are talking about career changing something, right? Because if God calls you and we are all pursuing God together, right? If you are pursuing God together, and I guess the essence is maybe purpose changing is maybe God has called someone to be a doctor. I don't know if that's what the person means. And then later on, the person say, "Hey, no, he has called me into ministry." Like people say, "I don't want to marry a pastor." Now the man saying, "God has called me." You say, "What?" Tell him to call me too. Call me this call. I'm not going to work. I think those are maybe some example, but I guess the most important thing is about pursuing God together and also finding purpose, right? So if our purposes are aligned and even God, look at the example of Saul or Paul that we used in the beginning, right? So he was working effectively, and God says that, look, I've called you to the Gentiles, right? So he had separated him to the Gentiles. So it was, let's say it was much more specific. So it was clearer in terms of specificity, and that we can work with. If God's call upon your life becomes much more specific, it's something we can work with. Or I think the example about Moses. So Moses probably did not see himself as a deliverer of Israel. So he married Zipporah, knowing that, oh, we are going to stay in the desert, we're going to do our own thing. And God now says that go and get my people out. Okay, maybe that's what the person is talking about. But I guess the point of pursuing God together becomes really important in this whole conversation. So if you are pursuing God together, then my heart will be aligned with God's heart concerning what God is calling us to do. And you could see that even in that situation, Zipporah intervened for Moses at a point. So partners in ministry, although Moses, prior 40 years ago, did not know that this is what God would have called him to do. But their hearts were knit together. They were pursuing God together, and she delivered him at a point. Sorry.
Please. Any other contributions, please, to this very question?
I would also like to add that I think that it's a plus that you are able to find yourself, you are able to find your purpose before you get joined with somebody else, right? It gives you a clearer perspective of where you are going and how you are going, and now with whom you are going, right? However, I don't think that should necessarily be a showstopper, in the sense that maybe, like, I mean, in all of the conversation that we've had, I think that Papa Shelter highlighted on the fact that there's a general purpose for every believer, and then there's a specific purpose for each and every person. And I think that it comes down like that. So like there's an umbrella, and then from the whole, I mean, world down to country, down to family, tribe, then, I mean, like that until you get to the close-knit or the nuclear family, right? So yes, in short, you don't necessarily have to, or if you don't, no, it's not that you don't necessarily have to. It is important that you find yourself, right? Because that will help you to align with a partner, or find a a good partner for the work of God to, go on. However, if purpose is not clear, because I think that that's how I'm interpreting this question. If your purpose is not as clear to you as you think it should be, I believe that you can start with what you have in your hand, right? And with that, I think that another thing that we need to touch on is that in marriage, I think that I like to believe that as human beings, some human beings or some of us human beings are very rigid in our thinking, or we like to put ourselves in a certain box. I think that when Mama Irene was doing her introduction, she made mention, or at some point in the conversation, made mention of the fact that her dad was her motivation to step out and explore the world, right? I'm just paraphrasing what she said, right? And so sometimes we tend to put ourselves in a certain form of space. But I think that in marriage, we should be open, or we should be mentally flexible to know that this thing that or this way that we this place that we want to get to, or this goal that we want to achieve, we think that this is the way to go, but at some point we might have to take another course and still reach that same goal. So simply put, yes, it's a plus to get or to know yourself, to find your purpose. But if you don't, start with what's the little that you know, and be open to finding more of yourself even in the marriage. Let me just put it that way. Yeah.
All right. Pastor, I have a request for the book you spoke about. So kindly share with us. We all want to see that.
All right.
Yes.
And I would like to add that it's not everyone who would know their specific purpose before entering into marriage. That's very important to know. As much as marriage, getting married is to fulfill purpose, sometimes you don't know the picture, and God chooses when to show you the specific path. You hold, and sometimes you hold off for a very there's a general purpose. So what is in your hands, as Mama Holali has said, whatever your hands find doing, do it, as Ecclesiastes says. So what do I want to do in my church, in my community, to serve God's general purpose? Then you find someone whose skills complement you. So for instance, when we met, Papa Shelter knew his specific purpose. And I was still discovering I would say I'm also trying to discover what specifically God wants me to do. But I love reading the Bible, explaining it. I want to run businesses, operations, those kind of things. So that's what those complement. He's also into business. He's also into discipleship. And those are the things that complement somebody who would be able to support you do that. I'm also on my way to discovery. And just recently, I was telling Papa Shelter that I want to know my specific purpose. And he was like, what are you talking about? Whatever, be diligent in whatever because I'm listening to preachers and they're talking about purpose, what God has called them, they're moving the nation. And I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? So we had this discussion and it's like, what are you talking about? You are here. We're active in the church. So what about your then he gave me the story of Paul and how he was working in the so that's the kind of analogy. We are all not going to find our purpose before we enter into marriage, But once your hands find something doing, and then you use your skills, you grow those skills, and then in the end finding your specific purpose.
Yeah. Otherwise, Moses would have married at the age 80.
It is
Right.
well. So
It's
you may not know the full picture, but then as you work, God may show you the bigger picture. So just
let me
be at it. Yeah. So our time is up. Yeah, but please, Mathetes Chapel, Disciples Chapel, we have social media handles. So please do well to check us up on YouTube and Instagram. We have some spirit lifting content over there for you. Yeah, so Papa Shelter is showing the manual. This by Reverend J.F.K. Mensah, God's Call on Your Life. I think if you get in touch with Transform Me, he will get you